What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here from Derium's Pokemon. Gonna be playing a game on PTCGO, and today I'm gonna be rolling with Gardevoir GX. Gardevoir GX is just an excellent archetype. I mean, it won worlds. It's so good. It's the GX Pokemon that everybody kind of holds up as being the best attacking GX Pokemon in the game right now. I say best attacking GX Pokemon in the game. Maybe rivaled by Zoroark GX, but like Tapu Lele GX, probably the best GX in the game right now, but you don't even ever use its GX attack. You're not energy driving all that often, and even though it does make the deck better that you do have access to energy drive, but Gardevoir GX just really is the whole package. The thing is an attacker, it's a support Pokemon, it's got an incredible GX attack. It has been amazing for fairy type Pokemon everywhere this season, just as far as giving fairy type Pokemon an actual stable archetype attacker to roll with. I mean, ever since fairy Pokemon have been introduced to the game, I feel like there hasn't really been a great fairy deck. Like there have been some fringe fairy decks. Don't get me wrong. Like there's been some. Like Xerneas Break was okay. I mean, Rainbow Road was okay. But there wasn't really like that amazing fairy deck. Even Mega Gardevoir was like all right. This has been like the best fairy deck to have ever existed, I think, bar none. So saying all that, this opening hand that I've got going on here is bad. I've got nothing happening here. So I need a top deck, or else this is just going to be, nothing on the top deck. So this is fine. Let's just go ahead and, I don't know, Guzma up a Trubbish or something and pass and just hope that things get better from there. I have to imagine that's probably all I can do. And then just going to go ahead and pass. I don't think that there's any reason to put that DCE down. Probably just makes it so that my Pokemon gets knocked out a little bit easier. I'm going to need to draw a supporter here. But, this is how a Pokemon trading card game goes sometimes. Sometimes you're just hoping that your opponent ends you, or hoping that, hey, speaking of your opponent ending you, I guess that's probably the only supporter card my opponent had in their hand. So sometimes you just got to play that end. Oh my gosh. And sure enough, I am in another horrible hand here. So not going anywhere fast. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have an energy or anything. But yep, they've got a DC. So they're probably going to big wheel GX. Yep, I thought that. No real point in righteous edging my little Remoraid here. Just going to big wheel, reset their hand, and if I can't respond with a supporter, which I can't, then they're in an excellent position. So I'm going to go ahead, parallel my opponent. Yup, they'll probably remove the Lele, I imagine. Just get that thing out of there. And yep, that way at least if they have like... then I'm just going to pass. If they have like Lele for Guzma or something like that, then at least they won't be able to knock me out. But if they have energy and Guzma, like my Curlia is just getting destroyed right now. So I have to think, like I'm imagining that the Curlia is just getting knocked out. If that Curlia gets knocked out, we're going to game 2. I'm not going to stick around while I just get wailed on here. I got no chance of winning this game if they knock out that Curlia. Now, if they don't knock out the Curlia, and I am able to top deck an N or something like that. Say they knock out the Remoraid, and I'm able to top deck N, and I end myself into a Gardevoir GX. Then I can win this game because my opponent, they berserks the Remoraid. So even if I just top deck a Gardevoir GX, even if I just top deck an Ultra Ball, there are a number of cards here I could top deck to stay in this game. And a Sycamore is one of them. Though I'm about to Sycamore 2 DCEs. Oh my gosh, this is fine. And I still did not. How does this happen? This has got to be the worst game I've ever played with Gardevoir GX. This is a horrible outing. Horrible. Oh my gosh. How did I not get a Gardevoir GX there? Instead, I've got 3 rare candies and a Lele. This is really, really bad. I gotta say, oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna retreat this thing. There's no point in doing 30 damage. We're gonna retreat. Yep, just 1 energy. Yep, into the vaults. And I have to just pass. This is really depressing. My opponent's still not playing any supporter cards. Maybe they have just a handful of ends and they don't want to end me. So maybe I get lucky and get end this turn. But that was just sad. I can't believe the Sycamore there got rid of the 2 double colorless energy. That really, hurt. I mean, that hurt my soul. Like, just getting, like, why are they got to play with me like that? If I had gotten, they're going to holla. Oh my gosh. And now that my opponent has GX, they're just hollowing for a ton of Pokemon and a ton of cards. They get like Shuffle Draw 8, right? So they're just going to be able to Berserk over and over again. Maybe now I'll get another supporter card or something like that and can actually draw out of this game. And nope, we are just going to go ahead and have to Guzma up like the Trubbish or something. And then we're going to put this Lele down, and I can't use it because I have no abilities. And we just have to retreat into the Lele, and we're going to pass. This is really bad. I can't even use my abilities because that Garbotoxin Garbodor is shutting off all abilities right now. So usually I would have been able to find a supporter with that Tapu Lele. My opponent does a huge Sycamore there, getting rid of a lot of resources. But it doesn't really matter. They're just going to sprint away with this game. They got the Floatstone. They're fine. They're just going to come up. They have no damage on their bench, but if they can evolve this Garbodor here, then they are going to Po-Town themselves, put some damage on, and just knock out this Lele. If they knock out the Lele, yep, they're Ultra Balling here. There's no chance. I mean, I'll stick around just to see if I top deck a supporter, but this is a really embarrassing outing. I can't believe it. But this, honestly, this is the reason why I've kind of like sworn off stage 2 decks, just because this is a great list. I mean, this is like Christopher Szymanski's top 4 list from the European International Championships. This is by no means a bad deck. Like, this deck got top 4 at Nationals. And we got an Ultra Ball, but it's too little too late. Oh, is it though? Yeah, it probably is. But let's, oh my goodness, what do I do? I'm going to get rid of Octillery and Curlia. We're going to get a Gardevoir. And what? A Gardevoir, if I evolve through Po-Town, I would have to, okay, let's see here. I'll stick around for one more turn, because if I happen to top deck Sycamore and then I get Max Potion, Field Blower, Fairy, DCE. Do I even have a DCE left in deck? Yeah, I have one DC left in deck. So it is possible to pull myself out of this game. Opponent's just going to Berserk. But this, just the inconsistency of stage 2 decks really gets to me here. And yep, that one is going to be a loss. There's nothing I could do there to save face in that game. 0 damage dealt. How depressing is that I could not even pull off an attack. I'm going to play one more game here with Gardevoir just to give it a shot. The deck is good. I mean, it is a very, very good deck. But sometimes stage 2 decks especially just have those games where you open nothing. You even play us up a couple supporters and just draw into nothing. Now, obviously, my opponent's strategy there was to set up Garbotoxin Garbodor, which definitely helped their cause. They were able to shut off my own Tapu Lele. I had that one turn where I did Sycamore into a Lele, and I would have been able to use the Lele in order to get myself another supporter. But let's see. Yes, I think this is a tough call. I don't want to get a Bridget and just hope to top deck, but I feel like I kind of have to with this hand. So yeah, I am going to get a Bridget. Like, I have to get my Pokemon out, but it is just a tough scenario here because I don't have another draw supporter. I feel like going for the turn 1 end, though, would have just been like kind of sketchy. Oh, I don't have no way to retreat either. I could get the Vulpix and then go for a Lele, but I have no way to retreat. So I feel like I just need to go for 3 copies of Ralts here. Let's just do that. And then, I could start manually evolving up. I can Guzma. I guess I could have gotten the Vulpix, and the next turn I could have Guzma'd the Vulpix into the active position. I didn't really take that into consideration, which I probably should have. But I missed it. So we're just going to rock with this. Eventually, I can evolve up into Gallade and then stack my hand with Premonition. That's fine. So long as my opponent doesn't get a turn 2 knockout on a Curlia that I start to set up. As kind of insult to injury here, I do have a Fairy Energy as well. So I could have definitely retreated into the... what am I saying? Could have retreated into the Vulpix, which probably would have been the best scenario. Probably should have just got that, but we are in this situation now, and we are going to rock with it. I think I bring up that, and I think I'm just going to promote my own Lele. It's kind of like a wall here, and we're just going to pass. So hopefully, I can go ahead next turn, Gallade, Premonition, stat my own deck, and then we're just going to roll from there. I would have definitely been better off getting that Vulpix, but sometimes you just have to live and learn. Decided to bring up the Wimpod just because these decks don't play like a lot of Golisopods, so I wanted to kind of stick it. It's got 3 energy retreat costs, so it is very hefty. Oh, what? They got a Floatstone, so they should be fine here. It will be difficult for them to first impression, though. So, like, they would have to get a Guzma the first impression, and I imagine that they're just going to get a Sycamore. So that's fine. That is okay. And then if we can ever just jumpstart this deck and get it up and rolling, we are going to start to perform Infinite Force here, do a ton of damage, and hopefully just take some big one-hit knockouts. Gardevoir GX has not been at first when Gardevoir GX first dropped, like it was like my favorite deck. Like I was into it. I was like, this deck is going to revolutionize the game. It's the only deck that's got built-in answers to Gardevoir, and I thought it was like the truth. But ever since I've been playing more and more in standard format, I've just been preferring decks that are simpler. I mean, the stage 1 decks are so easy to set up. Zoroark GX, so consistent. Buzzwole, so consistent. Lycanroc, very consistent. And that's kind of like and you can see the metagame is trending towards these consistent basic GX, or stage 1 GX decks for sure. I mean, look how amazing my opponent's board setup is on just the second turn of the game. They've got 2 Zoroark GX and a Golisopod. Meanwhile, I'm kind of sputtering around here, just hoping that eventually I can draw out. They decided to first impression for 30. That makes sense because, okay, and we got an Ultra Ball. So we are cruising here. And it didn't end up waiting any longer than I would have had to if I got the Vulpix. So, like, things ended up working out. The Vulpix would have netted me a Lele for this turn that I would have been able to play. And now I'm just going to go get that Octillery instead. Or the Vulpix would have got me an Octillery too. So this is good. Let's go ahead, just evolve this Gardevoir here. Or I could evolve the Gallade, go for DCE, maybe Guzma, knock out that Zoroark. Like, that's not a bad idea. So let's just go for the Gallade. That way we can, like, Premonition and stuff. So let's Ultra Ball away probably the Fairy Energy and the Choice Band. Maybe that's a little bit greedy, but I definitely want to stack my deck here. So at least to set up the Rare Candy with let's get the Octillery. So the thought process here is that I should be able to stack my deck with Premonition and see if I could draw into some good cards. So let's just go ahead. Oh, I did not mean to put that Choice Band on that Octillery. That meant to go on that was a misclick, but that happens. So let's just go ahead, Gallade, and yep, we're going to put that N on top, actually. We did not get the cards we want. We're going to put N and then, all these other things here. Let's see. I have 1 Fairy in the discard pile. So probably Max Potion. Yep, and then it doesn't really matter from there. That's fine. And then we're just going to end up ending. That was a misclick on my part, so forgive me. The Choice Band belongs on the Ralts. Hopefully that doesn't end up making a difference. My opponent is probably very confused as to why I have that Rockin' Choice Band on my Octillery, but whatever. I do what I want. Let's just go ahead. We're going to save that Super Rod, and we're going to end. See if we can draw into a Rare Candy. Nope, we cannot, but we can get ourselves a Curlia to evolve this Ralts here. I've got nothing to get this Tapu Lele out of the active position, which is a little depressing, but it's fine. Let's just get rid of the Ultra Ball, I think, and the Vulpix. Get rid of both of those, get my Curlia on, and then we're going to evolve this Ralts here and just pass with the Lele active. We are playing the long haul here with Gardevoir. Fortunately, we do run like a bunch of max potions, so the deck is resilient to this kind of thing. Having Gallade as well is just so good against Zoroark GX. I mean, they've got no really great way to deal with the Gallade. They can knock me out, I guess, if they crossing cut GX, but otherwise they can only deal 120 damage with Zoroark. They can only deal 120 damage or 100 without using a GX attack on Golisopod. But maybe they will. Nope, they attached the grass there, so they're not going to go for... Nope, they're knocking out my Octillery. That's fine. That doesn't really bother me, the Octillery. Like, I can Super Rod that thing back in. And I finally get my embarrassing misclick out of play by getting that Choice Band off. So I don't mind. That is totally fine. I'm going to go up, I think, with my own Gardevoir GX this turn. And yeah, I mean, that's going to make it more difficult for me to pull off Guzma plays. So that's fine. We got a rare candy. Oh, that's awkward. I think I just go ahead. Let's premonition, see what these top cards look like here. I do get a Gardevoir GX in my top 5 cards. So that's actually very good. And you can see I did that just to kind of know if I could afford to rare candy my bench Ralts into Gardevoir before I end here, and I can because I know that I'm top decking a Gardevoir. So I'm gonna go ahead and Sycamore here, grab that Gardevoir, which I know is to the top of the deck, so that's good. And then I can Super Rod, get my Octillery back into the deck, get that Young Bull back up in there. So let's get my Remoraid, Octillery, and Fairy Energy. Let's try not to attach a Choice Band to my Octillery this time. Then we're just going to Secret Spring onto the active Pokemon just once. And we're going to poke it. So that's kind of the game plan here. I'm just going to just hit this thing for 60. And then they're going to clock me once. And then I'm just going to Max Potion, attach DCE, Sycamore, something like that. That's kind of the idea here. I eventually would like to pull off a play where I Guzma up my opponent's Zoroark with Gallade, but you can see that's kind of going to take a little while just to get going, just because, especially without Octillery, kind of drawing into the necessary cards. Now, if I could top deck a Guzma here, I'd be able to pull it off, and probably would do that. Anytime I could just get the combination of DC Guzma in my hand, I'm going to do it. My opponent probably, okay, they're going to Crossing Cut, and they are going to try and beat me to the punch there. They're going to Crossing Cut GX. My own Gallade, which is like smart on their part, that's totally good because they know that that is going to end up winning me the game for sure if I can just Crossing Cut GX one of their, or not Crossing Cut, if I could Sensitive Blade one of their dudes there, it's going to be a bad time for them. So I think I do just need to load up on this Gardevoir here and hope that I can kind of sweep a little bit. As unfortunate as that is, I mean, I could have also just gone for the Twilight GX this turn, but I don't have like a ton of valuable cards in my discard yet. So I think I'm going to wait another turn to Twilight GX. And let's see what we got. We do have 2 Fairy Energies, so I am going to get a knockout this turn. I think probably I'll want to Twilight Retreat and Twilight GX next turn. So let's Secret Spring onto my active just to get that there. And then I think we have to just Secret Spring once onto my benched one as well. And I'm going to try and Twilight next turn. Going to take this knockout just to finally get on the board here. But you can see my opponent, that Crossing Cut play was big. Getting that Ralts there is very good for me too, because then I can just start to set up another Pokemon. But, getting that Crossing Cut was definitely a big deal for them, taking away kind of my major source of being able to win this game, which is that Gallade. I could try to get another one into play here, which is a possibility, especially with the Rare Candy Gallade in my hand. But they are making it kind of tough on me here, especially by taking out my Octillery. They've kind of swept the rug right out from underneath my feet. So I am in a tough spot. I don't have a draw supporter in my hand. I think that Twilighting feels like the right play here, especially since they're going to do a good amount of damage. I want to Max Potion. Who are they bringing up? They're going to bring up this Gardevoir. Okay, I guess in order to First Impression. So that's a little bit tough because then they put me in a situation where I can't really retreat Max Potion and Twilight GX. So maybe I should have saved that fairy in my hand and not wasted it. Then I could have just Max Potioned and then attached the fairy this turn. And Twilight GX, that would have put me in a much better position. But I don't have a lot of fairy energy down. I only have 3. I have none in the discard pile right now. So out of the 18 cards left in my deck, I have 5 energy in there. So a third of my deck is fairy energy. Very close to a third of my deck is fairy energy. I have plenty. So I wanted to try and get as ahead as possible as I could onto my energy attachments. They're going to Armor Press. That's an interesting play on my opponent's part. 130 damage. They decrease the amount of damage I do to them. I have a Guzma here, but I don't think that there's anywhere necessarily great to use the Guzma, but I can Guzma in order to Twilight GX, which could be okay. Heal off my bench Gardevoir. I just don't know. Let's see. Infinite Force would get me 3, 6, 9, 12, 100 damage. That doesn't feel good. I think I need to deny this prize here. So let's go ahead and Guzma up a Zoroark, I think. And we're going to bring up our own Gardevoir GX. We're going to Max Potion. And I think we just need to Twilight this turn. I don't really see a better route. So let's go ahead, put some Max Potions back in the deck. Put a Super Rod back in the deck for sure. Put, some supporters back in the deck. We definitely want, an N, a Sycamore. Probably a Choice Band. Oh, DCE, Fairy Energy, and a Choice Band. Maybe just to increase my damage output as well. That seems fine. So, and I get more. Okay, so Choice Band. Guzmas, we have Rare Candy. Do I need another Rare Candy? I have one in my hand. I only have 2 in the discard pile. Let's go ahead and get ourselves another N probably. My opponent doesn't... let's see. Tough choices here. Probably a Sycamore. I just need to get some more cards going. And I need to top deck some things. So let's go ahead, do that, and see how we do from here. I'm just kind of really struggling having my Octillery knocked out early. I mean, you can see how much better this matchup would be if I had that Octillery. My opponent had some good foresight there by choosing to knock out my Octillery, then also choosing to knock out my Gallade. They took out, my 2 strongest things to be able to use against that deck. And then, with the fact that they then are able to Enhanced Hammer and, just kind of handpick whatever they want to knock out on my side of the field, they are able to kind of turn what should on paper be not a great matchup for them into a pretty good matchup, just because, Gardevoir, its stage 2 deck, has its own natural inconsistencies. Without that draw, they are able to just draw whatever they want. They have Zoroarks in play. Puzzles, they have access to their entire deck right now, while I am just kind of sputtering around hoping to draw into something. And it looks like they're going to bring up my Gardevoir with no energy. They may be able to end up just taking advantage of that, unfortunately, with that Armor Press. And I top decked a Sycamore, so this is great news for me. I think I need to get the Gallade into play. I think that's going to be the best case for me, just to take a cheap knockout on a Zoroark. So I'm glad that I have that. And then let's just go ahead and Sycamore. I think I got to just hope I get a Max Potion here. And I do. So we're back in the game. I mean, you could see how sketchy things were there for a little while, but all these Max Potions just doesn't even matter. This deck just gets so much resilience out of those Max Potions. I really could just spend all day Max Potioning and then just accelerating energy and do it just fine. So I'm gonna Premonition here, see whatever I get on the top of my deck for next turn. I would like to get a DCE, would kind of be ideal. It looks like I'm not getting a DCE, but a Remoraid would help, I think. And then I could put the Remoraid down and then maybe use a supporter with my Lele to bring something up. So that probably would be good. I have Guzma, Max Potion. Let's get the Remoraid and then let's see, what else? A Sycamore maybe? I plan on trying to keep these guys alive as long as I can. A Choice Band might be good. Let's go for a Choice Band. And then let's put the Sycamore on top. That's fine. Put the Sycamore on top, or the Remoraid, then the Sycamore, then the Choice Band, then the Field Blower, then the Max Potion. Done. All right, 2 seconds remaining. We did it. And then I'm just going to poke this thing. I think next turn I want to, try and knock it out maybe with a Guzma. So let's just go ahead and do that. Infinite Force, going to do 100 damage. Next turn, if I can Guzma, hit it with this Gardevoir GX on the bench, Max Potion this Gardevoir. It's the reason I didn't accelerate the other energy is just because I'm saving room for Max Potion right now. my opponent's got to be, a little bit stressed out about the fact that I have another Gallade in play. So good, just with Super Rod and the option Twilight GX and all that. Getting Gallades into play is just super easy. Gallades are very good against Zoroark GX. The deck has no good way to dispose of a Gallade, so just very, very good for me. My opponent can draw all the cards they want. They've already used their GX attack, so I know that that Gallade is safe now, unless they can drop something like a Mew EX. So my opponent does go ahead with the Armor Press again. Let's see what I have going on here. I wanted the Remoraid just so that I could set that back up. I can get my Super Rod the Octillery, and make sure that as the game kind of comes down to the wire that I'm able to draw the cards I need to win. I could do 3, 6, 9, 12. I could do 120 damage to the Golisopod there if I were to bring that up. I think I want to Max Potion and Guzma something up. I think that sounds, or I could just hit it again. Let's just Max Potion the Gardevoir. I know I want to do that. Then I want to accelerate to it again. 3, 6, 9. I could just knock this thing out. That probably makes the most sense. Let's just Secret Spring to my active, and then I think I'm just going to Lele for a Sycamore there. Now that I'm kind of looking at things, 3, 6, 9, 12. They Armor Pressed. I'm only doing 100. I need a little bit more here, so I'm just going to Wonder Tag one more time, grab a Sycamore, draw through my deck, hopefully hit another energy or a Choice Band or something like that, and we should be cool, good to go. So I got a Super Rod, gonna go ahead and Super Rod while I have it, get the Octillery back into the deck, as well as, let's see, do I have some Fairy Energies? Yep, one Fairy Energy, and I don't think that there's anything else that I really need. I can put a Curlia in, the Vulpix, I'll put the Gallade in. I don't think that I'm going to be able to get it into play, but we're going to do that. And then let's put the DCE on the active, and we'll Premonition again, see what's on the top 5 cards of my deck. We have Parallel, DCE, and 3 Fairies. So I already have DCE. Let's put a Fairy on top. And then just from there, we're going to end up Ultra Balling for the Octillery, so it doesn't really matter. So we're putting the Fairy on top just so we have that in order to accelerate next turn. And we're going to take the knockout here. So finally, you can see just this game coming out strong. Gardevoir GX just showing off its resilience here with all those Max Potions. This deck is very hard to take down. But Gardevoir GX, I mean, it really shines against these 2-hit knockouts decks. Zoroark GX is a 2-hit knockout deck. It really thrives on just kind of hand-picking things to knock out on your opponent's side of the field, one by one, and then being able to clean up late game just with consistent 2-hit knockouts. But with Max Potion, I'm able to just deny so many of those 2-hit knockouts that my opponent is really going to, be in a tough spot trying to scrape together those final knockouts here. And now that I've taken the lead, I don't need to do any more healing. I just need to build up one big attacker and just take 2 more knockouts. That's all I need to do. So with Gallade here, Premonition, even though I don't have Octillery out, I did shuffle Octillery back into the deck. So all I need to do is get that Octillery kind of in play here, and then the ends will not be as devastating as we see right here. I do have, let's see, I could Secret Spring to the active. I'm not playing a supporter card though, so I cannot Sensitive Blade for the knockout. I feel like this timer is coming up really fast, but that's fine. Let's just go ahead, Secret Spring to the active position. We're gonna do that. I'm gonna Field Blower probably the active Choice Band and my opponent's Floatstone on their benched Zoroark as well. Then I'm going to attach Double Colorless Energy. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12. I'm going to attach it to 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. I'm not doing a knockout there with the Gardevoir in the active. I could have attached, nope, there's no way I could have gotten it this turn. So let's go ahead, Premonition. I'm going to keep that Octillery right there on the top of the deck. That's great. And then we're going to draw into all these things. So that's fine. Yep. And we just want that Octillery first just to make sure that we can continue to stabilize. And I think I just need to hit into this Zoroark GX. I don't think that there's any other better way to do this. As much as I'd love to retreat and kind of save it, I think that I need to just, kind of trade with my opponent here. I don't think that there's any way that they can knock out one of my bench guys. So I'm just going to attach DCE to my Gallade. Oh my gosh, are you serious? I ran the timer out. Oh my goodness. So that's really bad for me. But the timer just got me. Sometimes when I'm commentating, I do just run into that. So forgive me, guys, this game. Oh my gosh, just running the timer out, misclicking on that Octillery. Yeah, it's still a good game nonetheless, but I cannot believe that I put the energy on the Gallade, just trying to figure out where do I put it. Do I put it on the Gardevoir GX or do I put it on the Gallade? I don't think it really matters. My opponent's going to go down to 2 prizes, but I've got this game wrapped up either way, so we are going to be able to cruise in here to the finish. Honestly, at the end of the day, that attack on that and that kind of poking that Zoroark GX was not going to be what won or lost the game. That's not going to matter. So let's go ahead and let's see. Let's Premonition here. Want to draw into 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I'm doing enough to knock this thing out. So let's Premonition, see what we got going on. I don't need Max Potion. I don't need any of this. I will get a Fairy Energy and an N and an Ultra Ball and Max Potion Gallade. That's fine. Okay, so we'll get all those. And I'm just going to build up like a huge Gardevoir here and my opponent, and hopefully that works out. So let's Abyssal Hand, draw some cards, and then we can win with Guzma DCE next turn. I'm going to Secret Spring just to pile a little bit more energy onto my Gardevoir here. But hopefully not too much to where my opponent can like knock me out with a Lele or something like that. I should be safe from that. I do have 3 Guzma in the discard pile, so that's a little bit interesting. Looks like I'm not going to be able to win the game that way. But that's fine. My opponent should have nobody safe to promote next turn. I don't think that they should, so I am going to Field Blower this Floatstone now while I have it, just so that next turn I know that I can Abyssal Hand for more. If my opponent weren't to play any sort of Tool or Stadium card, then I would be Abyssaling for less cards in order to try and win the game. So I don't think that there's anybody my opponent should be able to promote here in order to deal any sort of damage in order to win them the game. If they promote Zoroark, I'm just going to bridge it and then Sensitive Blade for game. I don't really see. They have to take 2 prizes, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. There's no way they can knock this out with a Lele. There's no way they can knock this out with a Mewtwo Evo. I don't think, Mew EX, they can't copy Infinite Force with Mew EX. So I don't really think that they have a way out here, but we'll see what they end up doing. Imagine my opponent will end up conceding. Kind of a sloppy game on my part, so I apologize for that. But that's just like some misclicks coming into the picture. Like I didn't intend to attach the Choice Band to the Octillery, obviously. I didn't intend to run the timer out that one turn. But either way, still a good game. Being able to just showcase kind of the resilience of Gardevoir GX there. And, just show off how strong this deck can be late in the game, even with a suboptimal, slow, grindy start. Like, I'm still going to be fine. So, my opponent here looks like if they just leave, okay, and they try to make my life a little bit harder by bringing up the Lele, I am fine, though, because I could just bridge it, accelerate to the Lele, retreat, and then use Gallade for game. So, we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to bridge it. We'll grab Lele. And then we get to just do our knockout here. So Secret Spring onto the Lele. We've got the DCE in hand. Let's just go ahead, retreat, and my opponent scoop. So finally got there. The long, grueling game. Thank you all for sticking with me there. Gardevoir GX pulling off the win in an unlikely scenario, even with all my misclicks and galore. Thank you all for being patient with me. Thank you all for watching the game. Hope if anything else, it was at least a little bit entertaining to watch. At least a long, good game nonetheless. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel. I will show off the deck list real quick just for anybody interested in seeing it. This is Christopher Szymanski's list from the European International Championships, known as kind of Broken Vor. But it's not, let's see, hopefully it's this one. And it looks like it is this one. So it's known as Broken Vor. However, I did sub Super Rod in here for an 8th fairy. Christopher actually played 2 Super Rods. So thank you all for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel. Peace.